Working in retail can feel like an unforgiving job sometimes, but having an entitled parent as a customer, well, that just makes it so much worse. This entitled woman is determined to get a discount, even though there isn't one available. What does she do to try to manipulate the cashier into giving her one? The manager of a store is confronted by a woman who just doesn't want to follow the rules and expects to get away with it. You'll laugh when you hear what hilarious thing ends up happening in the end. And our fan-submitted story, a mother decides to use the cashier to make a point for her child. But what does this cashier do that upsets her plans? You'll only find out by watching this episode of VoiceyHere's Entitled Parents, featuring Tales from Retail. This story was called, If a Customer Tells You Something is Cheaper, You Honor It. I had a doozy of a customer a few days ago, and I'm still shaking my head about it. I haven't posted in some time, but I definitely have some stories saved up from over the holiday season, because people were just rude. Anyway, on to the story. For some background, I work in the apparel department of my store, mainly on the register. I was on the register a few nights ago when this story took place. I had been sick all day, but decided to come into work. I couldn't afford to call out again. Customers had actually been pretty good that night. I think they could tell that I was sick, for which I was grateful. But not this woman. Oh no, not her. It was probably 9:30 when this middle-aged woman comes up to my counter to buy some items. She had a few shirts from the men's department, as well as some workout pants, and a few small bottles of wine. I start ringing her things up, and she has a coupon for a buy one get one free for the men's shirts. I scan everything, total it, and then apply the coupon. I tell her her total, and she just stands at the screen in this way that only a true pain in the butt customer can. I knew she was going to have a problem the moment she opened her mouth, but what came out surprised me, because she was so bold. "So that's not enough of a discount after that coupon. I want more." I really wasn't sure what she could mean. I was really confused. Well, everything rang up at the price it was supposed to. I don't really know what you mean by not enough of a discount. Everything the coupon applied to, it took off. "Yes, but it's not enough. I thought it would work on the pants as well." The coupon in question clearly states young men and men's shirts. There isn't anything on the coupon anywhere saying anything about pants, so why she thought that beats me. Oh, I see. The coupon is only applicable to men's shirts. There isn't a coupon for pants this week. She kind of narrowed her eyes at me, but didn't say anything else, so I figured that was it. I repeated her total again, and very politely I may add. She ignored me and asked where our New Year's Eve jewelry was. We didn't and still don't really have any jewelry for New Year's Eve, only really Christmas. I don't know why, but we don't. I told her this, kind of confused as to why the conversation had gone that direction, since I had finished ringing her out and everything was bagged. "Well, do you have any costume jewelry or stuff like that?" I told her that yes, we did, and gave her directions where they were, assuming she would go once the transaction was completed. I was totally wrong. Without another word to me, she books it in the direction that I explained to her, and leaves me with an unfinished transaction. Me, sick as heck in general, and getting sick of her weird wishy-washy attitude. Add to the fact that I had customers that had just lined up after she walked away, and I was downright ticked off. I explained to the other customers what happened and told them they could check out in the front at the main check stands if they would like, but they didn't mind, thankfully. I waited and waited, probably 5 minutes. I don't know why the other customers stayed in line. I would have left long before then. When the woman came back all of a sudden, holding 2 little wallet clutches that were sparkly, pretty good for New Year's Eve, even if they didn't say anything about New Year's Eve on them. "I found these. Add them to my total." Sure thing. So I added them to her transaction, put them in the bag with the rest of her items, and told her her new total. She stared at the screen again, this time really scrutinizing it, and I could feel my soul leave my body with how annoyed I was. "No, those aren't cheap enough. Those jewelry bag things are supposed to be half off." I knew how this was going to go. Right then and there, I just wasn't having it. I felt bad for the other customers in line. but there was no way I was going to let this woman get away with me adjusting the price of something I knew full well wasn't on sale. Ma'am, the jewelry is actually regular price right now. It's not on sale, I'm sorry. So what is that sign over there then? It said 50% off all holiday jewelry. The answer lied within her question. All holiday jewelry, which is not what she had. She may have been using it for that purpose, but it wasn't actually holiday jewelry. I explained that to her, this time a little less friendly than I had been. The woman in the line behind her, who had stayed through her taking her sweet time shopping, finally gave up and walked away. So it was down to us again. Well, that's false advertising. If I ever hear those words uttered again in my life, it will be too soon. There are so many customers who just think that something is false advertising because they are too ignorant to realize what they're getting isn't included in a sale. I couldn't stop myself again. Can you explain to me how exactly it's false advertising when the sign back there is only on top of the holiday jewelry? When these clutches you got were nowhere near there, as well as full price. I don't understand. She just rolled her eyes at me, but didn't say anything in response. I asked her if she would still like them, and I think, out of spite, she still took them. I repeated her total for what felt like the 8th time. I mean, at this point, I had spent almost 20 minutes with her at the register, and I had other things I needed to do in my department. She looked at the screen again, all scrutinizing it. I knew she was looking for anything else that had an imaginary discount she had conjured out of her butt, and she found one with the men's workout pants. Yeah, so those pants were supposed to be 50% off. It was like she had to get something discounted. There was no way she was going to leave without getting something for cheaper than our already insane sale prices. Also, our men's workout pants, especially the brand she had, were definitely not 50% off. They were 30%, and the reason I know that is because I had set the ad for men's athletic wear that week. Ma'am, I'm sorry to inform you, but no, they're not. They're only 30% off this week. I set the ad myself, and I definitely remember that. She just sighed heavily, definitely annoyed, but at least she didn't fight it. I waited for her to scrutinize the screen even more, but alas, she finally pulled money out of her monstrosity of a purse. I almost cried from joy. Right as she was about to hand me the money for the purchase, she did something so unthinkable, I'm still unable to fully process it. She looked at the screen one last time, looked at me, then the bagged merchandise, put her money back in her wallet and said, "You know what? I don't really want any of this stuff anymore. You've argued with me over every price I've told you, and it's just made it so I don't want to give you my money. You've lost a customer." I'm so sorry you feel that way. However, this is a business, and I can't just take your word for every price you think something should be, especially when I set the sales ad myself. If you think something should be cheaper, maybe customer service would be the better way to go. Hope you have a better night. I'm just saying, if a customer tells you something is cheaper, you honor it. Now, I did something very unprofessional here, and going to be honest, I shouldn't have said what I said, but I had been sick all week, and I was very angry, and just wasn't having it. Let me stop you there. I will never take a customer's word for it, or honor a price blindly. Expecting me to just do that, especially with such large adjustments, is ridiculous. You've had an issue with everything I've rung up for you because you didn't read the sales sign accurately, and that is not my fault. I won't adjust prices for you because you choose to ignore and pick and choose what you want. Have a good night. I stayed at my register as she walked away. I honestly expected her to go straight to customer service, but instead, she walked out the door. She had muttered quite a few rude remarks, but I didn't care. I was too ticked off. Yes, I shouldn't have said what I said, but I'm sorry. This is a business. I don't care that you think I should honor random prices you pull out of your butt because you want stuff to be cheaper. If you want cheaper prices, you know where to shop, and it's not at my higher end store. People have been getting very shady lately with prices and haggling, and I'm not doing it. I think I could have handled the situation better, but honestly, what else was there to do? I had to stick to my guns, and I'm glad I did. If I get talked to by my manager, I'll just explain what happened, and I know they'll have my back. I'd rather lose a sale from an illiterate thief who would only be paying half the price than an honest customer who actually reads the sales and pays attention, as well as the regular price, and who doesn't try to swindle my store. Okay, we get it, everybody wants to get a good deal. If you've got a coupon, you want to get the best value that you possibly can. But playing ignorant only goes so far. Surely this woman knew that she was pushing the boundaries, and this definitely wasn't the first time she's done it. It's almost like she wanted to punish the store by not buying it in the end. She was basically saying, you need to give it to me at the price that I want, or else I'm just going to waste your time and then not actually buy it. And she'll just go to the next store and try it all over again. And maybe she does it 10 times in a row, and maybe one of them it works. Is that really worth your time and embarrassing yourself in front of so many people? Yes, stores like that might have a lot of customers, but they remember the bad ones and they look out for them. So next time you go into that store, they're going to watch out for you, and their tolerance is going to be a lot less. This story was called Mother Forgot Her. So a quick little story here that happened just this afternoon. Some of you probably know what a home shop or pickup lane is. If you don't, it's the lane where customers who have ordered their groceries online stop so we can bring them out and load them. Our store, unfortunately, has a single space home shop line, so we only ever service one car at a time, despite being a busy store. Well, someone parked their car in the one spot we had and ran inside. She had a buggy with her and was shopping normally. She was going to use the one space we had that was clearly marked store pickup, no parking at any time, because it was drizzling and she didn't want to get wet. We had both managers on duty working near the front window. They saw this and immediately confronted her. She got really uppity with the managers and said that her mother was in the car. I guess this is the point where I clarify, this woman had to be in her 40s-ish, and her mother was most likely in her 70s and 80s. Well, the manager, being the saint of a man that he is, goes outside to ask the mother to move. At this point, I'm watching through the front window, cause I'm kinda bored, and it's been a slow stocking day for me. The old lady seems nice from what I could see. She was smiling, and just gets in the other side, waving to the manager as she drives off. I keep watching her car, kinda absent-minded, and see her pull up to the edge of the parking lot, over to the road, and she just drives out of the lot. As soon as the manager comes back in, I ask him if she's going home to grab something. He said no, that she was just going to park. So I point out that she drove out of the parking lot and left. He kinda shrugs at me and says, "None of my business." Well, it became our business half an hour later when her daughter is screaming at the front desk saying her mother left her. Turns out her mother has dementia, and it's kinda bad. As soon as she pulled away from the spot, she completely forgot why she was at the store and just went home. The daughter couldn't get her mother to answer the phone and was trying to blame us for her mother leaving. I don't know how they handled this, but I just couldn't help but laugh to myself. This woman was so rude to us when she walked in and ignored all our clearly posted signs. Her inconsiderate behavior got her ditched at our store, and on some weird level, I find that beautiful. It's almost a tale of petty revenge, but it's just kind of a cosmic accidental happening. You can just imagine the old woman being approached by the manager. "I'm sorry ma'am, you're gonna have to move this car." "Oh, okay then." And she just backs out, and it's like, "Oh, why am I at this store? How embarrassing. I better drive home." You have to feel bad for people with dementia. They probably try so hard to fix problems that aren't really problems, and then end up creating more problems. Yeah, at least in this case, it was a problem created for a rude lady. This fan-submitted story was called Mother Drags a Shop Assistant into Their Parenting. This is something I witnessed at my job, which I still work for this very day. I remembered as a kid while at a supermarket, my mum or my nana would use these quotes if I acted out. stop crying before that man over there shouts at us, or if you don't behave, the shopkeeper will call the police, etc. I work on checkouts, and the funniest thing I witnessed was my work friend being put in a similar situation with a mum and a child. So here's what happened. While the mother and son were going around the store doing their regular grocery shop, the son was eating a few sweets from the pick and mix section, and his mother caught him doing that, and was not happy. We honestly don't care if customers eat a few pieces from the pick and mix. They're priced by its weight, so we don't keep count of every chocolate coin, or chocolate covered raisins and all those. When she made it to the checkouts, she was telling off her son for doing that, and the poor boy was crying his eyes out, looking terrified as he and his mother were getting close to having their groceries scanned. Here's what I overheard. The mother to my work friend.
"Excuse me, but my son has been very naughty, and I think you should get the big security man over there to take him away."
The little boy cries out of fear. My work friend looking confused. Why? What's happened? Did you see anyone who could be shoplifting? The mother to her son.
"Well, tell that man what you did."
After me overhearing this, I had to watch as my back was turned. I saw the boy crying and trying to tell my work friend what he did, but because he was crying, he couldn't get a word out of him. Poor little guy.
"He's been eating some sweets out of your pick and mix, which haven't been paid for."
She turns to her son.
"Go on, apologize to the man. He's not happy with you."
My work friend just nervously smiled and thought, I'm thinking the mother was hoping my work friend would tell her son off as if she asked him to help parent the boy. My work friend couldn't think of anything to say. "Oh, it's okay, buddy. You gotta try before you buy, right?" He couldn't stand the little boy crying, and he wanted to make him feel better. But then the mother just quickly yelled at the little boy.
"No, that's not alright. That's stealing. Don't ever do it again."
She leaves, and I just sat there laughing. Advice for parents: don't ever drag us into your parenting. And I think that's the moral of this story, is the fact that they're being brought into the parenting. Because had the roles been a bit different, let's say the mother was very indifferent to the child grabbing food from the pick and mix, and let's say the cashier was like, "No, you gotta pay for that," then the story would have been a completely different one. So the criticism isn't that the mother's trying to teach the child not to steal, or is taking it too seriously. It's the fact that she didn't have the ability to go down to the child's level and communicate with them. Ask them first. Why did you take that? Do you know that it doesn't belong to you? It's always best to assume that they don't understand first. That goes for any relationship where someone's made a mistake. And the second thing is, she couldn't do the disciplining herself. She wanted to outsource it to everyone else, except for taking responsibility for her own child. And that's why everyone else felt uncomfortable. They don't know the right thing to say to them. Maybe what the kid did was wrong. Maybe what he did was pretty harmless from his perspective. But until parents start trying to communicate to their children, understand them first before they discipline them, we're going to continue to get generation after generation of entitled parents. If you'd like your story to be narrated by me, don't forget to visit the subreddit r/VoiceyHere, link below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe if you'd like to see more. Alright, I'll see you in the next one.